and he called you out, you cannot tell me that the troubles that you face tomorrow, that all of a sudden God's going to say, oops, sorry, Rodney, on your own, buddy. I didn't see that one coming.
Right.
I mean, it's not going to happen.
Right.
So everything that we face, God had the foreknowledge, and God has a. But we've got to look in here and see what His remedy is for this.
And here's a good example of this. What you were just talking about, this welfare system.
Right.
All right. This is the way God intended.
Right.
All right. Now, if you notice the foundation of our nation, our founders set forth no provisions whatsoever for a social safety net.
Right.
Now, you ever wonder why that is? Did they think that everybody was going to be so prosperous that there wouldn't be any needs in the nation? No, not at all. They understood through biblical principles how a welfare system successfully constructed should work.
Yes.
And it's going to be through the churches, the people of God, seeing a need outside themselves and seeing a neighbor in need and rushing to fill that need.
Right.
That's the social safety net.
Absolutely.
That was intended to be.
Absolutely.
And so anything outside those biblical principles is going to be a failure. Look around us today.
Right.
Look at what the government has done.
Right. I agree.
It's a runaway train. Why? Because there's no personal aspect to our social safety net.
Yes.
It's a piece of paper. Your name is on a piece of paper. All I know is what some doctor said, therefore you get the benefits.
Right.
Okay?
You're right.
But now, if it's on a personal level, if I actually know the person that I am giving my money to, well, I'm going to know pretty well if that person's in my neighborhood, what kind of person it is, if there's really a need there.
Is this somebody that that we've seen take advantage and rob?
So that's why it has to be on a local, a very local community level.
Absolutely, and it would be easy for me, and I'm sure as would for you, if you give me a credit card that has no limit. And you look at me and you say, okay, we're doing this, this, and this. Go get what I need. It's going to be really easy for me to just go in and grab the first things that I can get my hands on when I'm spending your money.
Yep.
And I may walk out of there with a bag of fertilizer that I paid $40 for, that if I would have looked, I could have got the same bag, the same fertilizer for $8. Mm-hmm. But it's not my money, it's your money. Mm-hmm. Hey, it's okay. We're seeing the effects of that because the federal government is spending somebody else's money. So, there's no accountability there. Mm-hmm. And so, hey, it's not my money. I'm getting my pockets fattened. So, but you're exactly right. When it's on a local level, then through the church, then, nobody knows this mountain any better than the Martin family. I mean, you're talking about generations that's been here on this mountain.
Right.
So, the guy up the road that may convince me that he's the grandest thing ever was, you look at me and say, well, I've watched this dude rob every man and woman up and down this road.
And, he's going to get us a time or two.
Right.
But we're going to catch on pretty quick.
Right.
What this cat's up to,
Right.
And so
absolutely.
That's the checks and balances we have to have with a system like that.
Yes.
That's why the biblical system works and the fleshly man system will not work.
And it never will. I mean, that's why that we're paying out half what we make, and we've got people starving to death on the streets.
Right.
So it's proved itself out.
And we've got people who's drawing off the government, who can
made a career out of it.
Yeah, and they can coon hunt all night.
I've seen it. I mean, and I don't know,
can't hold a job somewhere.
Right. Well, and I know this sounds cruel, but again, it's going to go back to that spot of it's not my money, so it's easy to you look and for the sake of the coon hunt, I've looked at some of those nice big fancy diamond plated coon boxes. You're talking about anywhere from $700 to $1,000 for a coon. Mm-hmm. And I don't have enough money to buy groceries, and so I need help. Mm-hmm. But I've got enough money to go buy a $1,000 box to put a dog in. When I grew up, we had dogs my whole life. And my dad would point, and he'd say, get in the back of the truck, and it got in. If it jumped out, and I seen my dad do this. I mean, I seen him and my brother seen him drive off out here on the 4-lane. I mean, it wasn't maybe a mile and a half from my house, but dog jumped out the back of the truck. Me and my brother was going, hey, Daddy, the dog jumped out. I care less. Don't have no better sense than jump out. But I mean, even without being quite that brutal, you could tie the dog up. There's something to me that is missing when I have that need, but I've got this money. And I tell you what, I heard a fellow preacher make a statement, and he said, if you are coming to the church, which just reiterates exactly what you're saying, you're coming to the church and you're carrying $1,000 cell phone in your pocket.
That was my next point.
And you're puffing on an $8 pack of cigarettes with a $8 Starbucks coffee in your hand, and you've got $7,000 worth of ink on your body from going to the tattoo shop. I'm not going to take the church's money and give to you to buy groceries. I mean, there's ways that you can benefit yourself.
Right.
So I think that's where that comes in.
A lot of folks are where they are because of poor decisions.
Right.
And that's just it. It's not bad luck.
Yes.
It's not, well, I've had a hard time. It's, I've made poor decisions.
Right.
And somehow my poor decisions have become your problem. Okay?
Right.
That's how it works.
You're
and
right.
so I don't have money for gas. I don't have money to buy food. I don't have money to provide myself health insurance. But I have money to have a $1,700 iPhone somehow.
Right.
And I have
$100 a month phone bill.
yes.
And
all that goes along with that. And like you said, I smoke Marlboro Lights.
right, yeah, which is $8 or $10 a pack
So
when
yeah,
there's
you're exactly
cheaper
right.
stuff. Right.
You're exactly right.
Well, and
That's just poor decisions.
it is, and I think that's why that this system that you were talking about works so good. And I'm not saying that somebody that has a smoking habit or chewing habit or whatever that
But support yourself.
Well,
I don't want to support that.
I mean, I would find it a lot easier. Well, yeah. Well, and I mean, I dip snuff, and lo and behold, the brand that I dip happens to be the most expensive brand you can get.
Right. But you're not asking me to buy it for you.
Well, right, and I could see myself given to somebody that smoked if they were at least willing to sacrifice enough to go from a $10 pack of Marlboros to, I don't know what the cheap stuff is now, but to a $2 pack. I mean, I'd say, well, that habit's got a pretty good hold on them, but at least they're trying. But and we see this regularly, and I've actually been in conversation with people, and them pull a sleeve up and show you. Now, I'm fairly familiar with, at least back in my Walter days, tattoos and the cost of them and all that. And I'm going to say you're probably back then at least $75 or $100 an hour. Oh, you go and you get big old tattoo on your arm. You're talking about 3 hours, 4 hours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, if I've got $400 to get ink, but my child don't have milk or diapers.
But my street cred means more to me than that. So that, again, just bad decisions.
Right, and I think that's why this method works so good.
That's exactly right.
And again, and I hope it don't come across that we're casting stones at nobody and bashing. But at the same time,
that's true.
It's true, and if we get back to what was intended from the beginning, every single problem that we face could be fixed.
Right.
Very easily by simply going back to what has worked.
Right.
And this has worked.
Yeah.
Okay, something else?
No, sir.
Well, I thought we was going to make it all the way without a rabbit hole, but
Us?
Yeah. Okay, verse 30. Which also they did and sent it to the elders by the hands of Barnabas and Saul.
So Saul's back in action here.
Right. They saw the need, they give, and they sent what they had to give by Barnabas and Saul, and they took it to them.
Right.
And that was the type of oversight that made things work.
Right.
And I think it would work again.
Oh, it will work. It's unquestionable. It worked for all these years.
Right. And of course, and I guess, if we're going to go ahead and ruffle feathers, go ahead and ruffle a few more and say, if it was back to that point, we may not see, some of these, $1 million, $2 million churches that we see getting built everywhere.
Amen.
But, I don't think God's money, and I don't have a thing again, a growing church, expanding and having nice things. I think that's wonderful. But when my idea of nice is, spending twice the money that is necessary when we've got people right here in our area that are living on the streets, and I know this. I mean, my wife actually is very acquainted with an individual here local that the guy. I mean, we bought him a coat last year. 8 below 0, 7, whatever the temperature got down to, and the man's out without a coat. So to me, it's a crying shame that that we've got enough money to build a $2 million sanctuary for 75 people, and right here locally we've got people that that don't have warm clothes.
Well, that's an example of a person or a group building their own kingdom rather than God's kingdom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, that's just another one of those tangents that.
No, you're right.
It bothers me.
It needs to be said.
It does. It bothers me. And again, I'll say I think it's wonderful. As a matter of fact, our church we're looking for some property to build, and our little church is full.
That's good.
But I would have a serious problem if we built a sanctuary. And I think we're 60, 80 people, but if we saw the need to build a church that would hold 1,500 people, there's something wrong there.
That's right.
You're and it's good to have dreams, but let's wait till God fulfills the dream of 200 before we go build.
Wasn't it Lakewood out in
280? I believe it was $280 million renovation to the Houston Rockets Stadium.
Right.
To get it prepared.
And they just installed new carpet. The hurricane come along. I don't remember what hurricane that was. It came along. Anyway,
this is the one that devastated New Orleans.
Yeah, and it was needed for people to be for a sanctuary for people.
Right.
No,
that had lost their home.
Listen, what better function could a church have but to be a sanctuary for people, right? And so he denies, the pastor of that church denies. Now he'll say that's not true, but that's actually true.
Yes.
He denied their entrance into that church, citing
because they had just put new carpeting.
Yeah.
So, I actually saw the video.
Yeah. So is that man busy building his kingdom or God's kingdom?
God's kingdom would say, how dwelleth you if you see the need? I believe the way the scripture says it is, if you see your brother in need and shut up your bowels of compassion, how dwelleth the love of God in you?
Right, exactly. Now read Matthew 25, verses 31 on.
And
how's the sheep and the goats separated?
And
seeing the need,
right?
And feeling that
right.
need.
So and I think now that's one of them spots where faith comes in. Now, okay, so maybe they destroyed the carpet, but am I so shallow in my faith that I don't think God couldn't take care of that because I have the heart that He intended me to have to open my door up, or could God?
The thing of it is, if they did the right thing, God could have blessed that church in so many ways that they would have had new people coming in that would have paid for that carpet. You know, I mean, God's
Absolutely.
got all kinds of ways of doing it.
Absolutely.
He don't need me
Absolutely.
to think of that,
No.
but I'm just using that for an example.
Exactly.
He's going
is-
to increase you if you do the right thing.
Absolutely. And yes, and you're right. And, you know, and I think that is a good example of what you said. You know, we're not building our kingdom. I mean, God's kingdom. We're building our kingdom.
Right.
And well, now I think that's why that it's so hard to get people to show an interest.
No wonder.
Yeah.
If that's Christianity, you know, when you've got secular neighbors who have more compassion on the
Exactly.
needy than the church,
Yes. Yes. I
gosh,
actually had
what
heard.
in the world are we
Yeah.
thinking?
I had heard something that there was a man with a furniture store not too far from there that actually
Yeah.
sacrificed his
did.
inventory and let some of those people come into his furniture store and just give them free reins with the furniture, the
He
bedding.
did. You're right. I saw that. And now the pastor of that church, his defense was, well, the parking lot was flooded. You couldn't have accessed it. That was the reason I turned them away. Well, there was drone pictures of that parking lot the day that he said that. There was no problem people entering that church.
No, well,
So, it's just lies.
Well, yes, and of course, and I won't go down that rabbit hole, but you've heard my opinion on prosperity preachers, and, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's been good. I
Yeah.
actually, when I looked over this, I thought, well, that won't last long because most of it was just Peter.
Yeah. Yeah, you blew through 17 verses.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I guess the Lord knew it was a rabbit hole or two. He was going.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. And
Yeah.
great study.
Absolutely.
And, I guess we're done for today. So
I guess so.
thank you all for watching.
Absolutely. Like, subscribe, share.
Yeah. And we appreciate you being along for the ride. And I hope we've mined something out that's helped us all.
Right.
I know I have for me.
Absolutely. Yes.
Well, anyway, we appreciate you being with us and join us next time. We'll be in the next chapter, chapter
Yeah.
12.
We'll
And-
just keep it going and keep it going.
Yep. And, well, thank you for being with us. Over and out.